We are just getting in from a day out on the little lake. I had the little boat out here with me and we're loading it up in the back of the truck. But I figured I'd go ahead and I'd take the time to shoot this video. And we're going to talk about today 3 hard baits or 3 moving baits that are starting to work exceptionally well in the early fall. Welcome back to Lowbrow Fishing, and today we're talking about 3 moving baits or hard baits that you can use in the early fall to catch those fish. Now, as those fish are moving shallower and shallower as they break up from those big schools that they spent the summer in, things get to be just a bit different. You have to modify your technique some. In the last video, we talked about 5 finesse presentations that are very effective in the early fall. Kind of let that fall. And I want to take this time to, I want to take a minute here and give a shout out to Steve Rogers. Steve Rogers Outdoors. He is one of the best fishing channels on YouTube. He easily has the best underwater footage of any channel on YouTube. He's got this underwater drone, this submarine, that is just amazing. And if you think Tactical Bassing has got good underwater footage, they are amateur hour compared to what Steve Rogers does. And the thing that I like about Steve is that he's not talking about what baits you're going to throw in spring, and he's not talking about, you know, all this, that, or the other. What he talks about are patterns and methods. Things that are actually going to help you find bass. And that's the thing I like about him so much. He talks about things that a lot of anglers just overlook. He talks about things that a lot of guys, they don't think about doing. And it's really practical stuff. It's like, oh yeah, okay, I should be doing that. And if you haven't checked out his channel, I'm going to put a link to it in the description below. Steve Rogers Outdoors. He's a great guy. He has a great channel. And if you aren't familiar with it, you really need to check it out. It's kind of drifting this way. There we go. Ooh, that feels good. Come on, you. I know I got that one. Don't you? I got you. Oops, got another one on that. That's a good one. On that weightless jerkbait. That's a good one on that weightless jerkbait. You, I know I got on camera because I can see my camera rolling. That's a pretty fish right there. That is a hybrid. That's not a spot. We are going to get a picture with this guy. There, keep from dropping my phone in the water. That's a pretty fish. Alright, another look at it. We caught that on the weightless fluke, on the weightless jerkbait, and that's how we're fishing it today. I mean, that is the bite that is working. But some guys, they don't like to fish finesse. They want to keep those baits moving. They want to tie on hard baits, and they just want to let it rip. And that's fine too. There is no wrong way to fish. Use whatever you're comfortable with. Use whatever you have confidence in. But here are 3 baits that are working exceptionally well for me in the early fall. First up, good old jerkbait. Now, we talked about the fluke or the soft jerkbait in the last video. But right now, as the fall moves in, the hard jerkbait, that bite is really starting to turn on. But here's the thing, is that bite was never really off to begin with. A lot of guys, they only use a jerkbait in the fall or in the winter time. That's a mistake. You should always have one of these tied on. They work all year long, especially right now as we move into the fall months. That's when this bite really starts to shine. And we'll go under the water and I'll show you how I fish it differently from when I do in the summer. I want to test and see if that jerkbait bite is on. And I'm going to fish it a bit differently than I do whenever I'm fishing in the summertime with it. Crank it down, and I'm kind of jerking it on a slack line. Kind of doing that way. And it really does, whenever you pop it on a slack line, it really does move. It moves pretty good from side to side. And this time I'm letting it pause. Oh yeah, that looks really good. Now if I can just get a fish interested in something like that, huh? Crank it down to where I want it, and then like I said, you have to remember that whenever you're doing like this little boat's going to get pulled all over the place. Boy, that thing looks good underwater though. Yep, that's exactly what I'm looking for. That is exactly what I'm looking for. I didn't mean to cast straight that way, but whatever. Oops, I scared that. That looked like a... See if I can't wind that bait down just a little bit. And I'm not trying to rip through. I'm just trying to get that bait to swim just a little bit. As soon as I feel the tension, I'm pretty much letting off. Because I don't want the bait to go like that. I just want it to swim. I just want it to jerk from side to side. So if I continue to pull on it, it's going to do like that. But if I just give quick pops, it's just going to, which is what we're looking for. Now next up is kind of an oddball, I think. A lot of guys aren't going to really expect this, but this is what I fish, and that is a lipless crankbait. Here I've got a Cotton Cordell Super Spot, and this little bluegill pattern works great. I think I paid $3 for this thing at Walmart, and it's really an effective bait. I can use it to take the tops of grass. I run it right along timber, not over timber because I don't want to get it hung up, but I can run it pretty close and feel comfortable with it. And that rattling motion and that noise, well, it'll definitely pull those fish out of there. So I've caught a lot of fish on this, and well, I'm sure exactly how I fish it. Let's go out in the water and I'll show you what I mean. All right, when I'm working a lipless crank, I try to vary the retrieve. My idea in my head is to mimic a bait fish that is, under the water, obviously skittish, running away. Now I've got a whole bunch of timber right in through here that I'm working. So I'm kind of keeping the rod tip up here. I want to go over the top of that timber. But this is how we're working it. We're varying the retrieve, starts and stops, pauses, breaks. Making sure that, randomness. I mean, you could get fish on a straight retrieve, yeah, you certainly could. But for the most part, altering your retrieve, varying it up, that's going to be where your best bet's going to be. That's where your best action is going to be at, is making sure that you alter that retrieve. And that's what we're doing. Starts and stops, pauses, little pauses here and there. Making sure that we're just trying to mimic how, picture how a little bait fish looks in your mind, right? And that's what you want to mimic. How a little bait fish looks in your mind. Now lastly, we've got good old topwater. Here I've got a Hedden Zaraspook Jr. This is what's been working well for me. A lot of you guys know that topwater was never a strong point in my game, but recently I've been able to kick it up quite a bit, and it's been thanks to this little guy right here. I've actually turned the topwater bite around and I've caught quite a few fish with this and fishing a 1/8 ounce buzzbait. Some guys right now are fishing a whopper popper or even a 3/8 ounce buzzbait, and it's working great for them. And it is a good one, kids. No. Wow. Son of a gun. I knew he was in there. They're pulling that skirt off of there and they're putting a toad on the back and they're burning it across the top of the water. You're finding that your window of opportunity every day is getting wider and wider as that sun gets lower in the sky. It is just an awesome bait and it's an awesome bite. And we'll head out on the water and I'll show you how I fish it. All right, and a lot of guys will tell you that the topwater bite is really on right now. Which is what I'm working right here. I'm working a Zaraspook. And that's just it, is you've got to get that cadence right for that walking bait. So it goes side to side just like that. That's what we're looking for. That walk the dog action. And you can throw it pretty much anywhere you want to. It's going to float on top. I mean, you're not going to throw it in like eelgrass or pondweed or anything like that. But you can probably get a bass to chase. That's one of the things that, you know, it's a very popular bait this time of year, is a topwater, specifically a buzzbait or a whopper plopper or a, what I'm throwing, a Zaraspook. I'm in clear water. I want to be making nice long casts. And just working it back to the boat. I can crank it slower and hold it in place, or I can crank it faster and bring it to me. You know, that's just one of the things about working a spook, is you can actually vary your retrieve with it, kind of hold it in spot a little bit right there, but then you can bring it on with a faster crank. It's just one of those things. It's very versatile. So there you go. There are 3 moving hard baits that you can use in the early fall that will help you get those bites. If you're having a hard time generating any bites, well, first of all, you're going to have to cover some water because those fish have split up and they're moving to their winter homes. They're getting ready to feed, so they're going to be more apt to engage your bait than they would, say, in the summertime. But at the same time, you're going to have to track those fish down. And when you do, chances are they'll be pretty receptive to the bait that you're throwing. However, it comes with some caveats. You are going to have to alter your retrieve. Stops, starts, pauses, jerks, twitches, whatever you can do to mimic an underwater bait fish. And I'm telling you, it works. It works great. So give these 3 baits a try. I'm sure once you try it out, you'll develop a lot of confidence in them. Thanks for watching Lowbrow Fishing. We'll catch you in the next one.